Here you see the differences between the Greater Phoenix metropolitan area in 1984 compared to 2016. Notice the green spaces turning into developed gray areas. The developed areas are also becoming more densely developed over time. Phoenix has experienced rapid urban and suburban growth, which has led to large-scale deforestation, loss of agricultural land, more impervious pavement, increased CO2 emissions, and higher temperatures, all of which have contributed to the complex problem of UHI facing the city today. So what is UHI? UHI stands for Urban Heat Island. These islands occur when low-lying CO2 emissions create a dome around the city that captures heat from the sun. The heat is more easily stored in cement and asphalt for an extended period of time, significantly more than it would in a natural land absent of these building materials. The heat persists well into the night and creates even hotter temperatures over time, making this an issue that is not restricted to daylight hours. Here you can see a graph showing the differences between the average temperatures of different development types. Development with little to no green space, lots of reflective and impervious surfaces, as well as the use of vehicles and traffic congestion create higher temperatures in the city that reduce the overall quality of life for the residents and could eventually make this area uninhabitable.
So how bad is Phoenix's urban heat island? On average, the daily temperatures have been breaking records more often throughout the year. This graph shows daily temperature readings for the last 122 years. 2017 temperature readings are in purple, and as you can see, there are multiple record-breaking events circled in red. These events are happening more often and for longer periods. These are images taken in Phoenix over the last few years, showing the impacts of the extreme temperatures we already face today. If nothing is done to mitigate the effects of the urban heat island, it will only get worse. There is likely to be increased wind speeds, hotter days, higher cost of living for residents, and loss of habitat for local species. So where can we go from here? A much better outcome would be to reduce the effect the urban heat island has on the Phoenix metro area. Being able to reduce temperatures in the urban environment would create better quality of life for its residents and preservation of the local environment. There is hope to reducing the temperatures increase felt by the city of Phoenix. Using strategies aimed at reducing CO2 emissions and increasing the amount of green space will help Phoenix attain its vision of a greener and more comfortable city.
Urban green spaces provide ecosystem services that support our physical, psychological, and social well-being. These spaces have been shown to create a cool island effect, and that counters the heat island effect. The cool city is a model with key features such as albedo, urban greening, urban water, and ventilation. When you have white roofs and buildings and roads, that increases albedo, and it decreases the urban heat island effect by 1/3. Green spaces that surround buildings and connect to larger green areas, they often have water features. Green ventilation corridors are features of cool cities, and they allow wind to flow through, and that reduces overheating. Green roofs have a cooling effect. By absorbing heat, they act as insulators, and that reduces energy needs. They also add more green space to the built environment. When you plant trees and vegetation, it helps lower temperatures in the city, and trees provide shade. Trees also absorb CO2. They release oxygen, and they reflect solar radiation. Trees reduce heat by turning water from liquid to gas inside of their leaves. And trees in a parking lot can reduce on-site heat buildup and enhance nighttime cool-downs by up to 30 degrees.
Our next strategy in reducing the urban heat island effect is to reduce the CO2 emissions in the city of Phoenix. Reducing the emissions in the city will reduce the greenhouse gases that are directly linked to the urban heat island effect. Due to the sprawled out nature of Phoenix and the surrounding valley, many people have to rely on personal transportation to get from point A to point B. CO2 released from the vehicles is one of the leading greenhouse gases, directly leading to climate change and the urban heat island effect. In order for personal vehicles to be replaced, citizens need a reliable form of public transportation to get to their destination. The light rail is a good start to mitigate this issue. It is currently being expanded, and the expansion needs to continue until the citizens of Phoenix no longer need to rely on personal transportation. Another way to reduce CO2 emissions is to improve the bike paths and bike lanes that are currently in the city. This map is of the bike lanes in Phoenix currently, and if you look at it, you can tell that many of them abruptly stop, and there's not one path that connects multiple parts of the city to each other. So this is currently not a very productive way for citizens to get to their destinations, and it's not very safe because bike lanes are very narrow on the streets and in very close proximity to the vehicles. So the city of Phoenix needs to improve bike paths and widen bike lanes on the roads so that this becomes a reliable and safe means of commuting for its citizens. In conclusion, bike lanes and public transportation will both be solutions to reducing the CO2 emissions and reducing the urban heat island effect in the city of Phoenix.